To my left, we have William Richter, who might be the coolest person here because he has been nominated for an Emmy as the producer of We Stand Alone Together, the documentary episode of the HBO miniseries Band of Brothers, which I happen to know that Allie Carter on the end is super obsessed with. And point two for why William is so cool is he also owns an Armani tux. Those two things might be related. I'm sure we're all very disappointed that he did not wear his Armani tux today. Next, we have Lex Thomas, author of Quarantine, who is actually two people named Lex and Thomas. Very clever. They are a writing team. So Lex received a BA in drama and English from the University of Virginia and has worked as an actor, director, and writer. And Thomas graduated with a Bachelor's of Fine Arts from Rhode Island School of Design and now writes and exhibits his realist oil paintings in Los Angeles. And as their bio informed me, they started as a screenwriting team and they are both over 6 feet tall. Next we have Eliot, how do you say your last name? Eliot Schrefer, who's the author of The School for Dangerous Girls, The Deadly Sister, and In Danger. He is a resident of New York City and an honors graduate of Harvard College, who has been profiled in Newsweek, New York Magazine, and New York Post. And despite the fact that I am a Yale girl myself, I will not hold the Harvard thing against you too much. And then on the end, we have Allie Carter. Allie is the author, the New York Times bestselling author of the Gallagher Girls series about teenagers at a school for spies, and the High Society series, which has been described as a teen's Ocean's 11. Her books have been published in more than 20 countries worldwide. And little known facts about Allie. Allie is a former homecoming queen who grew up on a farm and can unpack feed with the best of them. She makes excellent snickerdoodles, and she frequently threatens to replace her best friend with people cooler than said friend, such as Emma Stone.
And my best friend is?
Well, currently it's me. But apparently my position is always in question if Emma Stone, Sarah Dessen, or Tina Fey were to decide to replace me. So now I'm going to let each of these fine people tell you a little bit, just the 2 to 3 sentence summary of your current book. And you look scared, so I'm going to be mean and say that Allie has to start.
Okay. My came out sometime in March, I believe, and it was Out of Sight, Out of Time, which is the 5th Gallagher Girls book. It is not the last Gallagher Girls book. There will be a book 6. I am writing it right now. It is on crack. It is really crazy.
I know the entire plot and I can confirm this.
Yes. So the best part of having a best friend who is also a writer is you can call her up at midnight and be like, so if we were to have a high-speed chase on motorcycles in the ocean, she'd be like, I approve, go. And so, you can always have somebody who will, basically enable you to be really, really insane. And so Gallagher Girls 6, I'm on the first draft. I don't have a release date yet, but it is coming. So excited about that.
My upcoming book is called Endangered. It looks like a paperback here because this is an advanced copy. It comes out next week, but they specially shipped copies here, so it's sort of debuting at the festival, so you can check it out. I'm sorry? Oh, and Amazon shipped it when it arrived, so I guess go to the big internet chains. So I fell in love a few years ago with bonobos. Who's heard of a bonobo? Not many people. What do you know about them? Someone to raise their hand.
99.9% of the same DNA.
Yes, actually, the going figure is 98.7% of the same DNA as humans. So they're very related to us. This is what one looks like. It's sort of. So they're an amazing, they're one of the 4 great apes, but no one really knows much about them, and I absolutely fell in love when I started reading about them. They are matriarchal, peace-loving. Unlike chimpanzees, they have a really supportive culture in which the females can bond together through their tight social bonds and defend their children against the aggressions of males. So as an alternative way of seeing how we are as people, or what we might have come from, they're really kind of inspirational. But they only live in the Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is the most war-torn country on earth right now. 5 million people have died in just the last 30 years. So Endangered is the story of a young woman named Sophie, who's half American, half Congolese. She grew up in Congo, but now lives in the States with her father, who goes back one summer to spend the summer with her mother, who runs a sanctuary for orphan bonobos. And while she's going down the road, she sees a very impoverished man on the side selling this infant bonobo to whoever will buy it, and he wants $25 for it. So she pays the money, it's very easy for her, but then when her mother finds out, she's very angry because that just encourages the trade in infant bonobos, and in order to get the young, they have to kill the family. So it's a big reason why they're so endangered now. So Sophie adopts a bonobo named Otto and sort of raises him for the summer, but then war breaks out while she's bonding with this ape who's come to see her as his mother, and she has to make her way across the country at war to find her mother on the other side. So it turns into sort of a quest of survival.
Hello. Our book is called Quarantine, and it's about a unknown virus that affects a high school. They have to quarantine the high school, and then after a year, like all the stereotypical groups and cliques you know in high school have formed, violent gangs that compete for the food the government drops in every 2 weeks. So it's sort of like an adventure story in a heightened version of high school.
Hunger
It's
Games in high school.
like Hunger Games, maybe you like it.
That's a pretty good synopsis, though.
I'm Will Richter. My book is called Dark Eyes. It is a high-velocity, non-stop thriller that you should read immediately, featuring Wally Stoneman, a 16-year-old girl who was adopted from a Russian orphanage at the age of 5 and is now living by her wits on the streets of New York City.
Okay, so one of the things that all of these books have in common is that they all have super incredibly high, oftentimes life and death stakes. So my first question for all of you as authors of thrillers and of these things with these life and death stakes is, how do you know how high to make the stakes? Are there sacrifices you have to make those stakes real? And how do you know how far to go? And we're going to start with you.
We have the benefit of, there's 2 of us. So if one person writes something that's pretty shocking, and the other person reads it and gets a great reaction out of it, that's a great way to know if it works and it's something worthy of being in print and in the story. As far as too far go, I don't know about too far.
I don't think
We take it pretty far.
Yeah, you can't go too far, you know.
I did notice that someone gets their nose bit off in like the first
That's
page
line 1.
of your book.
So that's the beginning.
Yeah.
So we take it pretty far from there.
Yeah, the higher the stakes, I think the more involved you are, and life's pretty high stakes. Why not? Take it as far as you can in a book if you want to get some emotion out of the reader.
I was wrestling with that question a lot while I was writing this book for a couple reasons. One is that the war that's happening in Congo is very real, so I had to, be honest to a large degree in order to do justice to what's going on. But at the same time, when you see a lot of strife and suffering, if it's overdone, then you build up resistances to it, and it actually lessens the impact of the story. If you don't feel there's a way in, it's just an onslaught. You're like, just stop, leave me alone. So I made sure to just show the elements of what was going on in Congo as they as they pertain to the story of Sophie and Otto. And then also there's the whole animal aspect, which, especially for people who are animal lovers, they get to the heart in a way that